When you think of football and greatness, the name Lionel Messi is always in the conversation. He's a magician on the pitch, a record breaker from Barcelona to PSG to Miami, a World Cup winner. Messi has been one of the defining figures of an entire football generation, but even Messi can get it wrong. In 2015, Messi teamed up with Adidas for a campaign called Backed by Messi, where he on his own picked 10 young footballers he believed would take over the sport. They were dubbed the future of football. These players came from all over the world: the United States, Brazil, Germany, Russia, Croatia, and more. The campaign gave them a huge spotlight, special boots, branding, social media buzz. The world was watching. Nearly a decade later, how did that turn out? Well, let's just say, despite his skills on the pitch, talent prediction isn't as easy as it looks, even for the man from Rosario. This is the story of Messi's biggest failure. Let's dive into what happened to each of those 10 Wonderkids. At number 1, we have Kennedy from Brazil. Chelsea fans know the name. Kennedy's raw ability was clear at Fluminense, making his debut at 17 and impressing with his flexibility on the pitch. A move a couple years later eventuated to Chelsea, where he scored his first goal a month after signing in a League Cup win. Despite the solid start, he had to bide his time with his first league goal coming in March. Failing to impress, he was loaned to Watford for the following season, where he only made a single appearance before injuries hampered his loan spell, and he was sent back to Chelsea in the December window. Before the 2017-2018 season, he toured China with Chelsea, and his lack of professionalism showed in his social media posts, roughly translating to "Wake up China," among other remarks. This had damaged his and his club's reputation. However, he stayed for the first half of the season before another loan move. Subsequent injuries and lack of identity on the pitch meant he never built momentum, and questions around his attitude did not help. With this, he had 4 loan spells in as many years and never lived up to the hype. Despite playing for his country at various youth levels, he never managed to crack the senior team. A case of what might have been. At number 2, we have James Wilson, England. Wilson burst onto the scene with a brace on his Manchester United debut in 2014, but things went downhill fast. He was at the club for 10 years prior to signing his first professional contract at 17 and had represented England at under 16, 19, and 20 and 21 levels. It's no surprise Messi had him on his list. While he went on to score another couple of goals in his debut season, he was loaned out the following 2 seasons to continue his development and get regular first-team football. Unfortunately, he suffered a major ACL injury in 2016 while on loan at Derby County. That blow derailed his explosive pace, one of his best assets, where he never really recovered to the levels Messi had envisioned for him, with a permanent move to Scottish club Aberdeen in 2019. Unfortunately for Wilson and United fans around the world, injuries were key, especially his ACL tear, but his confidence also dipped sharply. He never adapted his game post-injury, and inconsistencies followed. Gyasi Zardez, USA. Zardez began his professional career with the Los Angeles Galaxy in 2013 and had an explosive 2014 season, scoring 16 goals in 32 games. He helped the Galaxy win the MLS Cup that year. Over his career, other than the Los Angeles outfit, he played for the Columbus Crew, Colorado Rapids, and Austin FC. As of 2024, had made over 385 club appearances, scoring 125 plus goals. Not a bad return, but world class? He earned 68 caps for the U.S. national team and scored 14 goals. While effective in the MLS, Zardez struggled to adapt technically against tougher international opponents. His first touch, decision-making under pressure, and finishing consistency were all questioned. Why he didn't make it? Despite strong athleticism, he lacked the technical finesse to play in Europe or dominate elite-level international games. At number 4, we have Kareem Shelton, another American. Shelton was drafted by New York City FC in 2015 and showed promise with pace and physicality. He later played for Sporting Kansas City and made the move to Europe to SC Paderborn in the Bundesliga, but only made 9 appearances in Germany. He never earned a senior international call-up, with injuries and inconsistent performances plaguing his career. Why didn't this Messi pick make it as a household name? He lacked sharp finishing, struggled to develop tactical awareness, and never refined his raw physical tools into a complete forward skill set. At number 5, we have Akosio Bento of Italy. After making his Palermo debut, Bento was loaned repeatedly, never making a real impact in Serie A. Despite being highly regarded at youth level, he faded into lower-tier obscurity despite playing for his country at under 17, 18, 19, and 20 levels. Why didn't this Messi pick make it as a household name? At just 5'7" or 170 centimeters, Bento was physically undersized and lacked the end product at senior level, struggled with intensity, and was unable to adjust to the tactical demands of top-flight Italian football. At number 6, we have Teimo Wena. Now, here's one we know. Wena had a strong career at RB Leipzig, scoring 78 times in 127 games, and earned a big move to Chelsea for 50 million euros. But his time in England was mixed. His movement was sharp, but finishing woes and low confidence saw him miss many big chances. While not quite hitting the heights of Messi himself, we can put a tick on this pick, with Wena representing Germany 57 times to date and having scored 24 goals in that time. An impressive return. Called up to the 2018 World Cup and the 2020 Euros in that time. His numbers are solid, but he was expected to be world-class. Mental pressure, adapting to the physicality of the Premier League, and inconsistent form have left him down at the highest level. Now back in London at Tottenham, where he and his teammates have had a challenging season, however, ending the season on a high, winning the Europa League. When Wena does hang up his boots, he will be remembered more than most on this list of Messi's 10 picks. At number 7 from France, we have Jeremy Boga. Born in France and representing Ivory Coast at international level, Boga dazzled at times, especially at Sassuolo, but often struggled with decision-making in the final third. Coaches didn't trust him to start regularly at bigger clubs like Atalanta and Chelsea. Like many on this list, Jeremy began his career at the West London club, but was however loaned out to gain first-team experience in France, Spain, and also back in England at Birmingham City. Discipline issues held him back at Birmingham, and he wasn't played for 2 months by coach Cotterell. Why he didn't make it? Despite his flair and dribbling, he never developed to the tactical discipline or a consistent output to earn a long-term spot at elite clubs. Having represented France at youth level, it's another case of what may have been. At number 8, we have Maxwell Cornet, Ivory Coast. Cornet showed his quality with Lyon, including Champions League goals, but struggled with injuries and inconsistency. At Burnley, he impressed, but West Ham had used him sparingly. Cornet made his first-team debut at Metz at 15. Developing his streak, French giants Lyon signed him just before Messi made his list, and with good reason. However, his versatility may have hurt him, and not having a set position didn't define his role at the top level. He lacked the consistency and elite decision-making to stand out at bigger clubs, although his pathway may also have hampered his development at the top. Having signed for Burnley, he was top scorer following the departure of regular striker Chris Wood, but ultimately, the season led to relegation. He was quickly snapped up by West Ham, however, but was not in favor to be a trusted regular. Was this a case of poor transfer decisions, as he has shown his quality? At international level, he was capped by France from under 16 to under 21 level. However, he declared his intention to represent his country of birth at senior level in 2017. At number 9, we have Alexi Mirchuk, Russia. Though he was a creative and technical midfielder, Alexi lacked the athleticism and intensity to thrive in Serie A. Despite good spells with Lokomotiv Moscow, he never fully adapted to Atalanta's high-pressing system. Why he didn't make it? Limited physicality and tactical fit issues. He never imposed himself in games consistently and struggled with confidence outside Russia. At number 10 from Croatia, we have Alen Helovic. Dubbed the Croatian Messi, Helovic peaked too early. The youngest debutant in the history of Dinamo Zagreb at 16 years old. A move to Barcelona when he was 17 put too much pressure on him too soon. Poor transfer choices, unstable environments, and injuries hurt his development. 9 clubs and 8 years from 2015, his progress stalled for various reasons. Overhyped from a young age, lacked physical strength, led to various injuries, and he never matured tactically. Poor decision-making off the pitch further hampered his career. He managed 10 caps for Croatia, however, the last of those coming in 2019. Sometimes, despite all the talent, the pressure can be too much for these Wonderkids. So, what do we learn from this? Even Lionel Messi, a genius on the pitch, couldn't predict the future. Talent is just one piece of the puzzle. Injuries, mentality, coaching, timing, luck, they all matter. Of the 10 players Messi backed, only Teimo Wena had a truly successful European career. The rest, some became reliable professionals, others unfortunately faded into obscurity. And that's what makes football so fascinating. Not even Messi gets it right all the time. What do you think? Who was the biggest flop and who still has time to turn it around? Let us know in the comments.